All right, guys, you saw the title of the video. You guys know what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about SSP conversion because literally right now, upon the making of this video, it just dropped in-game about an hour ago, and I'm very, very excited to talk about this particular topic and kind of go through it live with you in-game. They also did give us 100 SSP conversion chips, which is amazing. So that way we can kind of play around and see which units we're going to be going for, or which is going to be our first SSP conversion. Or for some of you that are really, really waiting and want to hold on to them and until you really, really need to use them, that's okay too. But that's what this video is going to be about. Before I get started though, you guys know the drill. There's a subscribe button, notification bell, like, dislike, comment, all that good stuff. That's all YouTube related to help me out. Go do that. I'm not gonna bore you guys with that. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this SSP conversion. Now, I am gonna go into a little bit of recommendations, and the way that I'm gonna approach this is I'm gonna make it really, really simple because I do plan on having a more in-depth guides later down the line. And the reason why I don't want to do that now is, one, I literally just started learning about this an hour ago. I was checking out the different upgrades for some of the units that I could already use this feature on. And two, there are so many units in this game, and there really isn't a right or wrong answer. I mean, there's a recommended and not recommended. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to use this on, for example, an N or an R unit unless you want to make a meme team or something. But definitely, because there's such a vast roster, I think there is no right or wrong answer. I think the way I'd go about this is based on your needs, okay? But first of all, we're going to go ahead and take a look at this, and I'm going to use the Endless Waltz Wing Gundam as an example because I was actually pretty impressed with the upgrades that this particular unit got. Because remember, when this thing first came out, it was kind of underwhelming for a ranged unit. There were definitely better options. It was nice that we got this for free, but at the same time, it was not the greatest unit. So this is how I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and go show max upgrade because right now we're looking at Wing Gundam Zero Endless Waltz, or Wing Gundam Endless Waltz at SP conversion and fully upgraded. Also remember, you cannot SSP convert a unit that hasn't been fully limit broken and hasn't been SP converted. So you want to make sure that you get that taken care of before you start using these SSP conversion coins. So as we can see right here, this is what we have. And then if we take a look at it right here, we're going to go to basic info. You can see the difference right there. As you can see, we get a stat boost. We also get an overall higher CP, and also we get an additional skill. And not only that, units either get an upgrade to an existing skill, or they get more ammo to a particular skill, or let's say they get more range. There's a lot of different upgrades that's available to units. Now, they don't all get these upgrades. It really depends on the ones that you're looking at, but I really do like what they did with this particular feature. So let's see what Wing Gundam Endless Waltz gets. So first of all, we take a look at its weapons. Right over there, you see that its Buster Rifle gets an additional ammo. So now you have an AoE hit that has an additional usage, which is awesome. Its Machine Cannon gets a power increase, which is good. And it tells you right there, I think the amount of retro cores, which is the thing that you unlock when you do the SSP conversion. It tells you right there what you need in order to unlock this. But this gets a power boost, but this is its 2 range skill, so it's all right. But as you can see right here, its Buster Rifle, before its range was only at 4, now it's at 5. And this is something that this particular SSR unit desperately needed, which is why in the beginning it was kind of this thing is kind of underwhelming. But now it's actually, I would say this is a decent contender if you were looking for a favorite, for example. I still don't think it's the best, but for what it gets with the SSP conversion, it's definitely a lot better. And finally, the brand new skill that it gets is Buster Rifle SSP. It also has a range of 5, and as you can see right there, it has a pretty impressive power at level 5 at 6060. And then it also gets a critical damage rate up by 25%, and it already has a 10% chance to crit. So you got a 1 out of 10 chance to crit, and if it does, you get a 25% critical damage increase, which I think, in my opinion, is very impressive. And if we go back into the main screen here and we click SSP, as we can see right here, we see the retrofit that we unlock for the custom cores once you actually SSP convert. Right over here, it tells you right here what you need. It's learnable at retrofit level 1. So this is the different upgrades that you get for that. And then over here, we go to special upgrade. As we can see, this is the special upgrade that we get here. For example, Buster Rifle AoE gets an increase in ammunition, and then its Buster Rifle gets an increase in range. And finally, it gets another weapon upgrade where it unlocks the Buster Rifle SSP as well as an increased power for machine cannons. As you can see, it's a quite very, I would say, a significant upgrade that this brings to a unit. And let's take a look at another unit for example. Let's take a look at a supporter unit. Let's see. We're gonna take a look at, you know what? Let's take a look at Wing Zero, or Wing Gundam Zero. Just because, why not, right? So as you can see right here, we go into details. I'm going to put it at max upgrade, and then afterwards, we're going to go to SSP Convert. As you can see right there, with this particular unit being a support, it gets an additional passive, first of all, where if its vigor is supercharged or higher, the range of its beam weapon is increased by 1. That's pretty good. I mean, for a support unit, that's also kind of important, because with support units, if you can keep them at max range, you're keeping them out of harm's way, so they're still able to, you know, inflict that debuff when you're doing the chain attacks, and then afterwards, your actual attacker can deal as much damage as possible. So I think that's really cool that it gets that particular passive. Not only that, but if we go back, let's see what else it gets. Okay, so it gets an additional ammo to its Rolling Buster Rifle, which again, you get more uses out of an AoE attack. Its Buster Rifle gets a boost in damage, now at 4,550. And finally, it unlocks a brand new skill with a range of 5, with a pretty impressive power for a support unit at 5,940. And it also gets a defense down 25%. So that is quite good for this particular unit. I like the upgrades that it gets. I like the additional passive that it gets. And if we take a look at the SSP right here, it'll tell you exactly what you get. For example, with a special upgrade, you get the increased ammunition in Rolling Buster Rifle. For the weapon upgrade, you get this. And then afterwards, for this one, you also get that. So I think, again, very, very powerful update that we've been given for SSP Conversion. And finally, we're going to take a look at a Defender unit, because I do want to show you guys, you know, a Defender and what kind of things that they could get. So we're going to go with Knight Sazabi right over here. Take a look at details. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at max upgrade. Let's go back to basic. As you can see, a stat increase, and we also get a brand new skill. Let's go back to details and see exactly what this unit gets. That's a lot of HP, by the way, for an SSR unit with this upgrade. Okay, so its Mobile Sade gets an increase of power and range, so it's now at a range of 4. It also now has a power of 4,190, which is not bad. It's a defender unit, so we can't expect this thing to do a ton of damage. It's there to defend, but it does get a brand new skill called Funnels SSP that has a range of 5 with a power of 5,880 and a 20% chance to crit, which is quite good. And it also has a debuff that it inflicts the decreased beam weapon power on an enemy by 25%. So all in all, I think this feature is fantastic, which brings me to the next topic of the video. How do you go about? What are the recommendations? What should you do? How should I approach this? Right now, we only have 100 SSP, and I want to use it right now. How should I do this? Again, first off, it is based on your need, but I will mention this first. Number 1 priority is go with your favorites. If you have a favorite, go with the favorite. Do what makes you happy, because I, for one, am going to use this on Barbatos Lupus Rex. As you guys know, I've been on an iron-blooded orphan's high. I really love the anime. I fully watched it. I even rewatched some episodes, so I'm probably more than likely gonna go with the SSR development Barbatos Lupus Rex. However, if your need is more so, okay, I need something from like alternative series. Right now, I'm struggling on alternative series. Then you might want to research on which alternative series units there are. And I know that's a pretty vast tag, so you could kind of narrow it down and be like, okay, maybe I need more lightning fast, or maybe I need more one-shot killer. That's how I would definitely approach this, because because there's so many units, again, it depends on your need. Or let's say there's not a Master League, excuse me, an Eternal Road that you're struggling with. And you're like, you know what? I need a little bit more firepower in this. I just don't know what to do. Something's not cutting it. Then maybe you might want to strategize on how to use these SSP coins for that particular stage. So that way you have a little bit of power, and you also want to check what tags are available for that chosen unit. So that way you can kind of try to fit them in to other Eternal Roads that you are also struggling with. So that's how I would definitely approach this, like from a TLDR nutshell of, okay, how do I do this? Which units are good? Which units are bad? Again, there's so many units. I really don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's definitely based on preference. It's based on need. And also if you happen to have a favorite. Now, before somebody brings it up, I know this is going to get brought up, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at the SR Freedom, because we know that this thing is such a cracked out free unit And I've seen people develop multiple copies of this and also SP convert like 5 of them. And for good reason. I mean, I have 2 SP converted because as we could see right here, right? We're going to go into details. And if we take a look at max upgrade right here, first of all, it has an AoE attack that has a pretty decent power for an SR unit. I mean, 3600 for a map attack. And I mean, look at the coverage on that. That's already pretty impressive. And if you take a look at the full burst mode, it has a base 6000 power for an SR unit. That's higher than a majority of SSR attackers that currently exist, even up to now. And then the higher your HP, the greater the weapon power. So technically you're hitting with like a 6600 weapon power. So that's why this thing is so popular. And it's an SR, which I think in reality, this thing should have been an SSR, but I know it's going to get brought up. And if we take a look at the upgrade here with SP, as you can see, it gets a 12,509 attack power, which is insane for an SR unit. And if we go back into the details and take a look at the weapon upgrades, so now it gets more ammo on the AoE attack, and it gets a 6,400 power now on its full burst mode. They just had to make it even stronger. So now this thing's weapon power at max with its conditions is going to be at 7,040. Just think about that. An SR unit with a 7,040 weapon power, which is insane. And then it gets a brand new attack. Mind you, the range is not the best. It's only at 3, but it has a good power at 5,640, and it goes higher up to 12% the further you are from an enemy. So if you can kind of play around with which pilot you want to use, maybe a pilot that gets a little bit more range or something like that. But I had to bring this one up because I know a lot of people in the comments are going to be like, oh, just use it on SR Freedom this, SR Freedom that. And yeah, I am inclined to agree that if you do decide to use your SSP conversion on Freedom Gundam, I would say it's probably a really good choice because even at SP Convert, it's already really strong. And if you decide to do this, it's going to get even better. So I just wanted to throw that out there before I conclude the video. So remember, the way that I would approach this from a TLDR, choose your favorite first if that's how you want to go, but go based on your needs. Whether there's this particular stage you're struggling with, or maybe you're lacking a particular tag, you want a unit to get a little bit of a boost, so that way your overall team for that tag would be better, or maybe for a certain series. That's how I would approach this because, again, I don't think there's really a right or wrong answer with this because of how many diversified units there are in this game. Let me know what you guys think down below. Also, if you guys already use your SSP conversion coins, let me know who you used it on. And actually, before I actually end the video, sorry guys, one more thing. We're going to go ahead and do what I said I would do. I'm going to go ahead and use my SP conversion on the Barbatos Lupus Rex. Here we go. Let's do this. There we go. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead and screenshot that. That'll probably be my thumbnail. All right. So we're going to go ahead and go to weapon upgrade. Let's see what we need. I know we need... Ooh, okay. Okay, so that's right. We need these. I might just go ahead and max this thing out while I'm at it. Okay, so this is what we need for like the cores. Okay, so we do need to do a little bit of farming. There we go. And then we go into retrofit. Let's see what this does. Okay, here we go. Okay, looks like, oh wow, it uses that much. Okay, so retrofit unlocks more of the cores. So the first core, you need to level that up to max, and then you unlock the rest, and then it looks like... Okay, and for the special upgrade... Yup. Looks like we got to go through this. So lots of farming. So it looks like with this one, you need like particular metals from the different series. I think that's great that they did that. So that way there's like a different paths of different farming that you could do. And then remember, later down the line, we are going to get those 2 additional cores. So I'm very, very excited to see the evolution of this particular upgrade. But again, let me know what you guys think. I know this video was a bit long, but I've been waiting for this particular feature. I know a lot of you guys that play either in my Discord or within the community have been waiting for this. It's fantastic, and I cannot wait to see how far this will go. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.